Hello friends, I am your educator Priyanka. My qualification is MSc Botany, B.Ed and CSIR NET. Here I am going to discuss a very important topic of pre-fertilization stages in sexual reproduction of flowering plants, that is microsporogenesis. Students, we can divide the stages before fertilization as pre-fertilization stages and stages after fertilization as post-fertilization stages. What comes in pre-fertilization stage? The microsporogenesis and megasporogenesis, that is formation of male and female gametes, come in pre-fertilization stages. And what comes after fertilization? Formation of zygote, development of embryo, and double fertilization, which leads to endosperm formation. All will come in after fertilization stages. So let's get discuss our today's topic, microsporogenesis in flowering plants. Students, the male reproductive part of a flower, that is androecium, is made up of one to many stamens. Stamen is when we see the structure of an stamen, we see that the distal end of the stamen is made up of an anther, which is a bilobed structure, and anther is connected with a long filamentous structure. This filament, the proximal or basal end of this filament, is either attached with thalamus or attached with petal. If it attached with thalamus, it is called as free condition, but when it is attached with petal, it will be called as epipetalous condition. So anthers can be either attached or in free condition, and their number vary from flower to flower. Stamens can be one to many in a flower. They may be indefinite in number, and this is a very important characteristic of flower. When we see the internal structure of an anther, when we cut a transverse section of an anther, then we find the internal structure, and looks like tetragonal. The tetragonal structure, inside this tetragonal structure there is a sac-like structure which is called as theca. One lobe of an anther is a bilobed structure, and one lobe of anther has two theca, so it is called as dithecus. Inside this theca there is a sac-like structure is called as microsporangium. Inside this microsporangium, many pollen grains or microspores is formed. Let's see the detailed structure of an anther, internal structure. This is tissue level presentation of an anther. You can see here this looks like a tetragonal. Inside one corner there is a microsporangium. It means there are total 4 microsporangium present inside an anther. This microsporangium is covered with a wall that is called as teptum. You can see the teptum. And outer side of this microsporangium there are 3 coverings that will be called as epidermis, endothecium, and middle layers. There are middle layers are also present, and the innermost covering is called as teptum. You can see it in here also, that the round structure of teptum, and this is the cellular structure of teptum. This is the innermost protective layer, and this layer also works as the nutritional layer for the developing microspores. You can see here there are many cells are represented. There are mass of cells or group of cells. These cells are called as sporogenous cells. Why? Because they will form microspore after division. The cells of the teptum will provide nutrition to these cells when they will divide. Cells of the teptum have abundant food reserve and one to many nucleus inside their cell, because they have to make food for developing pollen grains or microspores. All the cells of this sporogenous tissue have capability to divide, and that's why they will be called as pollen grain mother cell or microspore mother cell. These cells will divide by meiosis. This is very important point to remember. The sporogenous cells inside the microsporangium will divide by meiosis or reductional division, and they will form microspore tetrads. Initially, when they will divide, all the four cells will arrange themselves as microspore tetrads. They will not be separated from each other after division. But when they will mature, they will be as a single cell, and they will be called as pollen grains. You can see here. These are many pollen grains inside the anther, and these pollen grains are released from the anther at the time of dehiscence. What is dehiscence? When the anther will mature, the anther will break from the point that is called as the line of dehiscence, and the pollen grains will be released from here, and by wind or by water or by any animals, they will be released from the anther. This is called the dehiscence. Students, the process of formation of microspores from a pollen mother cell through meiosis is called microsporogenesis. The microspores, when formed, are arranged in a cluster of four cells, the microspore tetrad. As the anthers mature and becomes dry, the microspores released from the anther and develop into pollen grains. There are several thousands of pollen grains inside a microsporangium. Here you can see the various structure of the pollen grains. They are very beautifully structured from the outside. They have various formations on their exine or outer covering. You can see the one microspore tetrad here, and from the one tetrad there are four pollen grains will be formed. When we see the structure of one pollen grain, we see that there are two outer coverings or protective coverings on the microspore or pollen grain. The outer one is called as exine, which have many types of beautiful decorations on it, and it is made up of a very hard, tough, resistant material, that is sporopollenin. Sporopollenin is a protein which cannot be digested by any enzyme till the date. It's very hard and tough. Why it is so hard and tough? Because nature has to protect pollen grains from desiccation and dying. If it will not be protected, then they can die, and if there is no pollen grains, there is not going to be any fertilization. That's why the pollen grains are covered with sporopollenin, which is very hard material. But some places this pollenin is not present, and that will be called a germ pore. Why this is called a germ pore? Because from these pores, formation of germ tube or germination of the pollen grain will start, and the pollen tube will emerge out from these germ pores. If you see the internal structure of the pollen grains, you find that inside the intine there is a plasma membrane. There is a plasma membrane, that is exine. This is intine, and the innermost is the plasma membrane. Inside the plasma membrane, one nucleus, cytoplasm, and many vacuoles are present. But at the time of shedding or pollination, when pollen grains come from the microsporangium or anther, they are found in two-celled stage. Two-celled stage. They are not in one-cell stage like here. The cell of the pollen grain will divide by an asymmetric division. What is asymmetric? Asymmetric means not similar or different. Two cells formed after this cell division will be different from each other. One bigger cell, that will be called as vegetative cell, you can see here, and the smaller cell will be called a generative cell. And the time of shedding or pollination, when pollen grain will come out from the anther, they will be in this two-celled stage. It is very important point to note. In the many examinations, they ask that when pollen grains are shed from the anther, they are in the two-celled stage or three-celled stage. So they are in two-celled stage, and this condition is found in 60% of plant species. The vegetative cell will form pollen tube, and the generative cell will form male gametes. Male gametes. Male gametes. From the vegetative cell, there is going to be formation of pollen tube, and from generative cell, there is going to be formation of male gametes. In the 60% of plant species, the pollen grains are shed in two or released in two-celled stage. But in the 40% of plant species, pollen grains are going to shed in three-celled stage. And what are the three cells? In the three-celled stage, there is a generative cell, and the two cells will be formed from the that is not generative, that is vegetative. In the 40% of plant species, there is a large cell that is called as vegetative cell, and from the generative cell, there is going to be formation of two male gametes. So the pollen grain are shed at three-celled stage in most of the plant species. In 40% of plant species, one is vegetative cell, and other is one male gamete, and there is a second male gamete. And what is the function of vegetative cell? Vegetative cell will form the pollen tube when the pollen will land on the stigma, and the two male gametes, from the two male gametes, one will take part in fertilization with egg and will form zygote, and the second male gamete will fuse with secondary nucleus or polar nuclei and will form endosperm, and this will be called a double fertilization. So the first and most important is fertilization, where is going to be formation of zygote, but the second is double fertilization. We will discuss it in our next video, what is double fertilization and what is endosperm formation. Here you have to understand only this, that when the pollen grains are shed from the anther, they are in 2 cell stage in 60% of plant species and in 3 cell stage in 40% of plant species. One cell is vegetative cell, which is larger and will form pollen tube, and the smaller cell, that is generative cell, will form male gametes, and there is going to be formation of 2 male gametes in all the plant species. But at the time of shedding, in some plant species there is already the formation of 2 male gametes, but in 60% of plant species male gametes will form after shedding, not before shedding. This is the only distinction between these two types of plant species. I hope you understand all of these things here. I will tell you what is the distinction. What is the distinction between here? I am going to tell you the difference between microsporogenesis and megasporogenesis. You can see here, by the comparison of microsporogenesis and megasporogenesis, the concept of both will be clear to you. You can remember it any time in the future and you will not be confused where it happens, how it happens. Okay, let's see microsporogenesis and megasporogenesis. In microsporogenesis, microsporangium is anther, but in megasporogenesis, megasporangium is ovule. Ovule acts as megasporangium. Inside the anthers, all cells of sporogenous tissue will behave as pollen mother cell, all cells. But inside the ovule, one cell of nucellus will behave as megaspore mother cell. This is the most important distinction or difference. All cells of anther all cells of sporogenous tissue of the anther or microsporangium will behave as pollen mother cell, but only one cell of nucellus will behave as megaspore mother cell. Meiosis will occur in both. After meiosis or microsporogenesis, pollen mother cell will form pollen tetrads. But in MMC, there is also going to be formation of meiosis or megasporogenesis, and it will form 4 megaspores. But from these 4 megaspores, only one will function as the functional megaspore. Only one, not all of the 4 megaspores. And this is very important. one megaspore. One megaspore will be functional. One megaspore. But what happens in anther? All sporogenous will form pollen mother cell, and all pollen mother cell will divide by meiosis, and they will form thousands of pollen grains. But here one megaspore will be functional and the rest of the three will degenerate. They will not do anything. And this one megaspore will develop as female gametophyte. Female gametophyte. Female gametophyte. And the pollen grain inside the anther, pollen grain inside the anther will be called as male gametophyte. Male gametophyte. Male gametophyte. And this is very important. This is very important. What is male gametophyte and what is female gametophyte? Students, I already have uploaded the video on megasporogenesis, where you can go and see the process of megasporogenesis. That's why I am giving here the comparison between microsporogenesis and megasporogenesis, so you can understand it in a better way. So what is male gametophyte? Pollen grain is male gametophyte. What is female gametophyte? Functional megaspore. One functional megaspore is a female gametophyte. And the male gametophyte of the megaspore is seven-celled. Is seven-celled 8-nucleate structure. Seven-celled 8-nucleate. Female gametophyte of megaspore 7-celled 8-nucleate structure. It is also called as embryo sac. Embryo sac. But the male gametophyte is pollen grain. Pollen grain. And it is either in two-celled stage, or three-celled stage. In 60% of species, two-celled stage is found inside the pollen grain, when the pollen will release from the anther. And what are those cells? Vegetative cell and generative cell. Vegetative cell will form pollen tube and generative cell will form the male gamete. And in some species, when pollen grain is shed from the anther, it is found in three-celled stage. The generative cell already has divided and will have formed the two gametes. This is the distinction between or difference between microsporogenesis and megasporogenesis. And you can see it is very clear. Some points are very important and these points are often asked in examinations. So this was my today's topic, the microsporogenesis and the comparison between microsporogenesis and megasporogenesis. In my next video, I will discuss the stages after fertilization. So till then, bye bye.